There he is. Look at that guy. What's going on, man? Good to see you. When I met this guy, oh my gosh. If you haven't seen the pictures, completely different physique. Thanks for coming out, Anthony.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So type 2 fibers are what stimulates your anabolic system. Anabolic system is your growth hormone, your thyroid, your IGF-1, okay, your testosterone and your estrogen. Okay? That's the system that's going to control muscle composition, fat, okay, bone density, ligament strength, okay, collagen matrix, stuff right here, hair, skin, nails, okay, bones, ligaments, tendons, eyes, brain, heart, all your organs is made up of the collagen matrix. Each part of your body has a little bit different structure, but it's the collagen matrix. Okay? Like your bones, they're a little bit denser. Okay? You can stimulate that collagen matrix right through the anabolic system. Okay, so now here's the challenge with exercise. Most people think movement is exercise. I'll give you an example. I go to Planet Fitness and I get on the elliptical, right? When I travel around, there's always somebody in there, right, that throws one of these in there. Right? They got those going on, right? And they think that's doing something. Well, here's the facts. If you don't feel the burn, nothing's happening. You know the difference between walking around the track and running the stadium stairs. When you run the stairs, what do you feel? The burn. You walk the track, you don't feel anything. Not a whole lot's going to happen when you walk the track. You're kind of in maintenance mode. But now science has now told us that steady state cardio actually increases cortisol once you get to a certain age. It's great when you're young, but as you get older, it's actually stressful on the body. And it actually starts causing muscle loss, stops fat loss, and contributes to bone loss and burns out your thyroid. Right? So the key now, all the science is pointing to this. You need to do short bouts of vigorous exercise that creates the burn. Well, that's hard. Right? I was 52 years old. Here was my typical workout. I'd go to the gym for 30 minutes, right? And what do I do at the last 30 seconds? Well, I'd just sprint, right? So I'd get a little burn at the end. So I did 30 minutes and got 30 seconds of exercise, okay? Then I would go weight train, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, there's the burn. Whew. Wow. 5 seconds of burn, okay? So I added it up. I would strength train for 45 minutes, and I would probably do about 15 to 20 sets, 5 seconds of burn. Okay, that's 100 seconds. That's a minute and a half of burn. That doesn't do anything. I'm in there for 45 minutes, and I'm stimulating my body for a minute and a half. Okay? Now imagine, and we'll get to BFR, how many people have used it or done a demo, right? You felt it. You got the bands on for 4 or 5 minutes, and you're getting 2 or 3 minutes of burn, right? And people think the 50 minutes and 2 minutes of burn is going to cause the change. Well, I'll give you some science here in a minute, but that's not actually, that doesn't actually create enough change. Okay, so let's back up, see what we learned. What's the aerobic fibers? What are they, type 1 or type 2?
Type 1.
Type 1, right? Are they slow or fast twitch? Slow twitch. They use glycogen or oxygen. When they create fatigue, okay, let's take it a little bit further. When you create a drop in oxygen in your muscles, here's oxygen flowing at a 10, and when you start getting up here using oxygen kind of as fast as it's flowing, what's the first thing the body does?
Fights.
Why do you breathe faster, and why does your heart rate go up? You got it. Now, is the heart skeletal muscle? Does it get bigger? No, it's a motor, right? You're not going to keep beating your way to a healthier heart. That's not how the heart works. Okay? So if you elevate your heart rate and breathing, then the oxygen starts to come back down and everything's fine, right? But if you get to where you're using more oxygen than's flowing, which is very difficult for most people, you got to really push hard into cardio, your body will go Elevated breathing and elevated heart rate's just not getting the job done. What's the body's next response? Why do people take beets? Why do everybody... Nitric oxide. Here's your next myth. Okay? Is that, why is nitric oxide there? Right? I was talking to somebody, I won't mention, I was at the event. Somebody came over and said, oh, nitric oxide, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, great, you know, this thing, nitric oxide. I'm like, okay, there's 3 forms of nitric oxide. Which one? Well, I don't know, it's just nitric oxide. I said, okay, well, when you figure out which nitric oxide you're stimulating, come back and let me know, right? Because there's actually 3, right? Guys, if you get a little bit excited and you get a little neuronal nitric oxide, you get an erection. That's one form. If you get in a very deep state of stress or fight or flight, you get inducible nitric oxide. And that's very stressful on the body. But that's going to just massively increase blood pressure and blood flow everywhere, like if you're getting chased by a tiger. The one that you want to pay attention to is endothelial nitric oxide. Okay? So let's back up. I'm exercising and I'm not getting enough oxygen in my muscles. They're starting to fatigue. And the heart rate and breathing's already gone up, right? My body is going to say, okay, let's kick in stage 2. And it's going to release endothelial nitric oxide from your blood vessels. It's sitting right in the lining of your arteries. Okay? It releases it. When that nitric oxide gets released, what happens? Blood vessels open. Why would they open? To get the oxygen there faster. And then the blood thins. Why would the blood thin? To get the oxygen there. Okay, so if I'm working this muscle and I'm getting nitric oxide to bring blood there faster, where else am I getting better blood flow and oxygen? You ever get that kind of little buzz thing going on, that little runner's high, especially when you do BFR? You turn nitric oxide on there and you're getting increased cerebral blood flow. And if you've ever done BFR and you had a joint pain, you start moving around, you're like, where'd that shoulder pain go? Blood flow and oxygen into the shoulder. And then you do BFR and you go home and you're like, where's the rings around my ankles? Blood flow to your ankles. That's what nitric oxide is, right? Now, you're not going to supplement your way to releasing nitric oxide, right? That's the myth. You're not going to dramatically improve circulation by taking this stuff. You will temporarily, right? But why you should take nitric oxide supplements is because most people, once they get in their middle ages, don't produce it. So you're walking around and you don't have much nitric oxide in your blood vessels, right? It's a breakdown of what's called nitric oxide synthase, your ability to manufacture it. So the reason you should be making sure you get good nitrates or supplement is that produces nitric oxide, right? Guys, you don't take nitric oxide supplements and go, you still have to have the stimulation. Oh, I'm excited. But if you don't have the nitric oxide in your body, then guys tend to get erectile dysfunction, right? So that's why taking this stuff helps your body use nitric oxide. But you want that all the time. You want nitric oxide every day. Because here's the things that maybe you don't know. Nitric oxide immediately starts breaking down atherosclerosis. It immediately starts reversing hardening of the arteries. On contact, it kills every virus and bacteria in your blood. On contact. I've got the studies, but let me ask you a question. When we had the virus going around, it doesn't matter what virus it was, we had a pretty bad virus going around, right? And you looked at all the sports teams. You had coaches and administrators ending up in the hospital, like my buddy Rick Burkholder of the Kansas City Chiefs. He had to go to the hospital and get on a respirator. How many athletes were in there? How many kids that are out around on the playground? Not a one. Why? Because they release nitric oxide every day, and they kill it on contact. And there's a study out of Uppsala University in Sweden that unfortunately was not let in to the United States. that literally said the way you kill any virus is with nitric oxide. And you actually you can inhale it through a substance, but if you do the exercise, right? So if you get nitric oxide every day, you're going to be younger. You're going to be healthier. You're going to live longer. You're going to function better. Everything. So let's back up. How do you get the nitric oxide? You got to create what? You got to create hypoxia. You have to use more oxygen than is flowing. Now, oxygen's flowing at a 10. You got to go to a 6 or an 11? Where you got to go? 11. That's pretty darn hard. That's not fun. That hurts. You're ripping something. You're tearing something. That was me at 52. Okay? So that's enter blood flow restriction. Blood flow restriction is very simple. It's not complicated. We're going to simply allow the arterial inflow, right? And you got to use a special kind of band. Please don't use wraps or elastic and crank that down. Don't use a blood pressure cuff type material because you'll actually interfere with arterial inflow. And that can be a little dangerous, but it hurts, right? Anybody ever had the blood pressure cuff on? You're getting pretty close to that thump, 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 thump. Imagine working out with that. No, don't do that, okay? So you want to allow arterial inflow, but if we just take this venous outflow, watch my hand here, and slow it down, we lower the oxygen. It's like putting the altitude training mask on the muscle. So now the oxygen's flowing at a 5. Now that same 6 that we all like to do is all of a sudden high intensity exercise. You're walking, you're doing something easy, you did a demo, and your muscles are on fire because we simply cut the oxygen in half, right? So we dramatically reduce the amount of work you got to do. Okay, so you got the BFR bands on, and most people who get nitric oxide, the studies show it's about, for the normal person, it's about an 8-minute, 10-minute, up to 20-minute it takes to get into that. In 30 seconds, you're in nitric oxide with BFR because you're right here. Okay, I get on the elliptical. I'm going like this at 20 seconds. I'm like, fire. I'm already here. I'm 20 seconds in. I'm already releasing nitric oxide like an Olympic level athlete. Right? Okay. So how's that happen? What does BFR do? It slows down what? Arterial or venous? Venous blood flow. If you reduce venous blood flow, you're going to automatically reduce arterial inflow, so you're reducing how much, what fuel? Glycogen or oxygen the muscle has? Oxygen. So now the oxygen's here, right? So you're doing a light exercise, and all of a sudden you're using more oxygen than is flowing. Okay, what's the body do as you start using oxygen? You start get a little sweat. I mean, it's like right now, right? And as soon as you get here and the body goes, uh-oh, not enough oxygen, what's released? You just learned what 95% of the doctors in the country don't even know about this. I didn't know about it. And I was a sports chiropractor. I thought I was pretty smart. Oh, take your beats, right? You know, well, sure, that's part of the equation, right? So you just learned what probably 99% of people don't know. And if you release nitric oxide every day, you can kiss heart disease goodbye. There's no chance. Read all the studies and all the science, right? Because you're going to have clean blood vessels and you're going to have flexible blood vessels, okay? We'll stay on this subject one more time. Let's teach you something else. Here's cardiovascular disease, okay? You got flexible blood vessels that do this. Every time the heart squeezes, the blood moves, and here's your blood vessels rebounding it around the body. But as you age and have poor diet and don't exercise, your blood vessels start to get softer or harder? Hardening of the arteries. Then those little hardening spots start to get little cracks. But your brain is smart, right? Your brain starts patching those cracks, and you start getting atherosclerosis. Now, to create the atherosclerosis, your body has to create a different type of lipoprotein, right? It's got to create LDLs. So it takes the same diet you've already had, and it starts increasing that production. And they do lab work, and they say, you've got bad cholesterol. No, not bad cholesterol. Your body's producing what's going to keep you alive. So they give you a cholesterol drug.
When I scat, kill your kidneys.
right? And then the blood starts to get a little heavy, and then they give you a blood. That's called treating the symptom. Okay? Now, if your arteries are hard and they're narrow, has your heart got to squeeze harder or easier to move the blood? All right? Now the blood can't get down and back, and you start seeing the little rings around your socks. Right? What happens to your blood pressure? That's all cardiovascular disease is. You can actually reverse that process. Nitric oxide temporarily improves that circulation, but then over time your body goes, here's what your brain does. Oh, you might do that again. You might do push-ups again. We're going to give you 1 or 2 more next time. Right? You might run again. We're going to improve your endurance. It does the same thing with your cardiovascular system. You might do that again. I'm going to start stripping out the atherosclerosis and reverse the hardening of the arteries via nitric oxide and vascular endothelial growth factor. You read the studies, blood pressure comes down, ischemic heart disease goes away, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This whole process starts to reverse. Now, we'll take one more step here. You guys are pretty smart. What takes the oxygen from the blood and converts it to ATP? Energy. Mitochondria, right? So if you want to improve endurance and VO2 max, typically athletes, they think, oh, we just got to train long and hard. Okay? So the mitochondria's primary function is to create energy. What's the secondary function of the mitochondria? We have any scientists in here? Clear the lactic acid. The triathletes know that the lactic acid is actually absorbed and turned into a third form of energy for runners. So the mitochondria's job is to get rid of the burn, the lactic acid that you're producing. Oh man, I'm on fire. I dropped the weight. How fast does it go away? Gone. That's the mitochondria. Okay? So if you can create lactic acid faster, what are your mitochondria going to do? Uh-oh. They're going to work harder, but they're going to increase. How are they going to increase? They're going to multiply. It's called mitochondrial adaptation. And boom, there's your endurance and your VO2 max and your energy. You have more mature and more mitochondria. So if you put lactic acid in there faster and more lactic acid in a short period of time, your energy and VO2 max and endurance goes through the roof. I take triathletes and I have them do 5 to 10 minute workouts, and they're used to doing 2 hours and they break all their personal records. Working out for 5 or 10 minutes. Why? Because in 2 hours they're producing a little bit of lactic acid. BFR, you're like in lactic acid right now, and it's a ton of lactic acid. And you feel it the next day, you kind of feel that soreness, and then like the next time you work out, you don't even, it's gone. You change your mitochondria in one workout with this stuff. Okay? So that's the cardiovascular side. Anybody have any questions about that?
Can you talk a little bit about zombie cells and clearing those out of the body and efficacy maybe that you've seen?
Well, we don't have any science on that, so I tend to stay away from stuff I don't have science on. So, I mean, maybe you guys could teach me something. Yeah.
I'm no authority.
Yeah, and I'm not on that either, right? So, one thing I won't do is quote you something that there isn't a ton of research with BFR. Right?
Can I just add that
Yeah.
zombie cells, as I understand them, are cells that in a body that doesn't utilize its, produce a lot of ATP and has very few mitochondria per cell. Often called zombie cells, they're doing nothing and produce froth inside of their cytoplasm and so forth, and very destructive protein synthesis and so forth.
It'd be interesting to do some research on that and see, there's probably a vigorous exercise, right, study. And if you read anything and it says hard, vigorous strength training, cardio exercise is good, you're going to be able to do the same thing with BFR in a fraction of the time. Okay? So if you do BFR, you're going to create nitric oxide, mitochondrial adaptation, cleaning of your arteries, cleaning your blood vessels. You're going to improve your circulation. You're going to increase cerebral blood flow. I want some of that every day. Right? Okay? Now, when you use oxygen, do you feel lactic acid? When you work your aerobic fibers, slow twitch? No. Very good. If you're feeling the burn, are you in slow twitch or fast twitch? Glycogen or oxygen? You're using glycogen. So here's the process, okay? We got the BFR on, right? We're using more oxygen than's flowing. We're starting to get nitric oxide, and then here comes the burn. You are now metabolizing both oxygen and glycogen. You've recruited both muscle fibers. I'm on the elliptical, and it's like I just jumped off and started doing squats. Think about that for a second. I'm on the elliptical doing cardio, and I'm getting a strength training workout. Well, when the slow twitch can't keep up and the nitric oxide doesn't do the job, the fast twitch go, oh, we better help. And you don't have to lift heavy weights. You don't have to lift heavy weights to go get your fast twitch muscles. Point, great story. 3-time reigning 24-hour mountain bike champion, rides for 24 hours. He's the national champion. To make a long story short, he called me. He's training 6 hours a night. It's wearing him out. He eliminated half his workouts down to 15, 20 minutes. So he saved 5.5 hours, 3 nights a week. Okay. So he does it, and he calls me and said, this is awesome. I did not lose, because he measures everything. I mean, he's at the elite of the elite. Didn't lose any power, didn't lose any of this stuff. How did I put 2 inches on my legs? He put 2 inches on his quads doing cardio. Okay. Okay, so here's the concept, right? If the slow twitch muscles don't have enough oxygen, and that happens only when you use the bands, right? Because we've cut off the blood flow a little bit. The fast twitch engage. Like you're lifting heavy weights. You know it because you're in the burn, right? And what happens to the burn as the slow twitch fibers start to kind of go away and the fast twitch more engage? Does the burn get lighter or harder? When you feel that deep burn, all you're doing is you're not stretching, micro tearing anything. You're just converting over to all glycogen, and you're producing lactic acid because you are now primarily working your fast twitch type 2 muscle fibers. It's like you left the cardio machine and you got on the squat rack, but you're still sitting there on the cardio machine going like this. When people figure that out, I mean, that's going to be a mind blower. So he says, how did I put 2 inches on my quads? I said, well, Brent, you know how you felt that burn? Were you in type 1 or type 2? I was in type 2. And did you keep going? Yeah. What's like you just did about 10 sets of squats, but you did it on the bike. And your muscles grow when you create lactic acid. If you create lactic acid, where does it go? Does it go to the heart, or does it go up here to the central nervous system?
To the brain.
Goes to the brain, stimulates what? Pituitary gland to release HGH. Yeah? What happens when athletes shoot it? Stronger, faster. What happens when adults put it in their body? They get younger, but there's the dangers of synthetic. Anybody know anything else that you can do that rivals shooting yourself with growth hormone and performance? Well, other than that. And I mean, I got all this stuff. I got the saunas and the patches, and I'm not giving them up, but I'm talking about stimulating my anabolic system. I mean, I'm pretty smart at this stuff. Huh? Well, cold and intermittent fasting gives you like a 10% increase in growth hormone. I'm talking 10x. 100 times more growth hormone than you will get from other types of stuff, right? Yeah. Yeah, so this growth hormone, in my opinion, it's the strongest thing you've got in your human body, right? Here's the problem. Most of you can't go get it, right? No offense, but I can look around this room and tell you who's getting growth hormone. I won't pick anybody out, but I can already tell you who's getting the growth hormone, right? Because if you got growth hormone surging every day, you're going to look completely different than if you don't, right? Because here's the first thing that happens when growth hormone slows down. Your metabolism slows down, and you're eating the same thing you ate at 18, right? And you get in your 40s and 50s, and you don't even have to eat the pizza. You just got to look at the stupid thing, right? Okay? That's metabolism. Okay? Where's that come from? Where's metabolism controlled by? Thyroid. Man, you guys are smart. Right? What happens when you get hypothyroidism? What do they call it?
Graves' disease.
Hashimoto's, Graves. Graves is more of a true disease process. Hashimoto's just means your thyroid slowed down. Okay? As your growth hormone slows down, so does your thyroid. There's another hormone that comes out with your growth hormone at night, every night. It's called thyroid stimulating hormone. The thyroid doesn't act by itself. Why are we down here messing with this thing? Why are we shoving iodine in our body? Right? The thyroid's sitting here saying, somebody, please tell me what to do. Right? When you do vigorous exercise and create the burn, you get a matching release of thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, so if you increase thyroid activity, what happens to your basal metabolic rate? Ladies, you get 800 more calories a day. Need to know anything else about weight loss, ladies? No, there's your weight loss. There's your weight loss, course. 800 more calories. Okay, so when I was working out, right, I was able to create fatigue in the burn, but I was getting cortisol with it. When you're young, like our catcher back here, you can work out for 2 hours. How you doing? When you work out like that in your 40s and 50s, you produce the fatigue, but you also produce cortisol. Look at the teeter-totter. I'm working out and lifting weights and I'm going backwards. I'm barely hanging on to my muscle and I'm getting this here and I'm always sore. And I'm doing the same darn thing I did when I was 18. Cortisol, right? Cortisol gets involved and it shuts down your anabolic signal. Okay? Anabolic, growth hormone, thyroid, IGF-1, testosterone, estrogen, bone-specific alkaline phosphatase. They don't both go like this. And cortisol's the dominant one. So that's why if you work out too long, right, you don't get anywhere. Right? So let's back up. So if you create, how much burn do you need, you think? If you're a BFR person, don't answer. How much burn do you think you need to elevate your blood lactate and get cortisol or get growth hormone?
15 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes. And how long of a time? Okay? Remember, if we dump a lot of lactic acid in the muscle and the mitochondria doesn't clear it, it gets into the blood and it's a trigger. So if I get 2 to 3 minutes over the course of a 50-minute workout, that pretty much all gets 5 seconds if it's all getting cleared. What if I go like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's the burn. And then I go, I'm going to count to 20. 1, 2, and I'm going to keep creating the burn. The muscle can't clear it and it gets into the blood on one set. Now I do 9 sets, 3 bis, 3 tries, 3 shoulders in 6 to 7 minutes. And I produce 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. I produce 3 minutes of burn. Right? Where's all that extra lactic acid go? It's in the blood. Circulating lactate. I can measure it. Boom, triggers this right here. That's how you turn on the anabolic signal. It's funny, you go out to the Olympic Training Center and you start talking about exercise and they all start laughing about the way we all exercise, right? When they start exercising, it's on. There's no talking, there's no cell phone, there's no, hey, look at me, I'm at the gym. Hey, look at me, I got my shakedown here, right? Right? There ain't none of that, right? They're all burned all the time, producing growth hormone, right? Well, we can't do that. Well, now with BFR, you can. Why? If you reduce the oxygen and you're using more oxygen and it's flowing because there isn't enough blood flow, which muscle fibers kick in and help? Fast twitch, right? Which fuel are they using? Glycogen. If you metabolize glycogen, what's it produce? What's the byproduct? Lactic acid. If the mitochondria can't clear it fast enough, where does it go? Well, it gets into the blood. And we measure it. Last time I was here, we measured Gaylord. What'd you do, Gaylord? 4 or 5 minutes?
4 minutes.
Yep.
1.4 to 9.3 at 4 minutes.
900% increase in blood lactate. There's only one place you will see that. If I went in the gym and measured anybody, nobody's getting that, right? Unless they're over in the corner and they're the bodybuilders and they're grunting and screaming and yelling at each other, right? Right? The only other place you're going to see that's the Olympic Training Center. Let's take Anthony. Anthony's working out when I met him. He's lifting weights. Then he switches over to BFR. And instead of producing a little bit of burn in 50, 60 minutes, he's producing a whole lot of burn. How long were you working out, Anthony?
40 minutes, I'm good, I'm burned out.
Yeah. Yep. But you're feeling the burn all the time, aren't you? Yeah. So he's producing more lactate. His growth hormone goes up. He's got 1,000 more calories. Guys, you get 1,000 more calories. Guess where that goes? Starts eating away all of it. In 60 days, the six-pack I was chasing for 15 years came back. And you ought to see me eat. All day long, anything I want. Pizza, hamburgers, double cheeseburgers. I don't eat raw sugar. I don't eat diet soda. But I mean, I just had eight meatballs. Before I came over, we bought a bunch of those peanut protein balls. I had 6 of those. And when I go back and stop at the sports book at the Westgate, I'm getting a chicken pizza, eating half of it. If I didn't do this, right? I have the metabolism of a 20-year-old, right? So here's the summary. You control all this. It doesn't happen to you, you let it happen. Now that you've got the information, you control your blood flow, you control your heart health, you control how much oxygen's getting to your brain, you control whether you're getting circulation in your legs, right? In your joints, you control your growth hormone, you control your muscle, your collagen, you control all of it. And it will simply take you 5 to 10 minutes a day to access it. 1% of your life.
Doesn't your brain ever catch up with this stuff? Or does your brain try to? It's being fooled? No?
It's on off. It's on off. Lactate, growth hormone. No lactate, no growth hormone. Right? How old are you?
73.
Right. So you've got the natural growth hormone of a 73-year-old, which is about 15% of what you had at 18. Okay? You do BFR every day and get 3 minutes of burn, you're going to go back probably to an age of about 30 in growth hormone.
I like that.
Yeah. And then you're going to function that way. I mean, stand up, Walt. Stand up, Walt. How old are you, Walt?
I'm 69.
Yeah. I mean, great looking guy, but put a mask over the head and a white beard, and don't look at that. How old would you think he is if you didn't look at his face?
40.
35, 40? Yeah, he's 30. He's functioning 30 years younger. Yeah.
We had to go to the face.
He'll be that, yeah. Oh, he's a good looking guy, but he's got me. He's got the white and gray. I mean, take this away. How old am I? Huh? How old am I?
30.
Yeah. I had 3 joints replaced, a herniated disc, a 30-degree scoliosis, no labrum. It doesn't go up any farther than that, and no cartilage in the knee. Yeah, give me the hand right there. Feel that?
Oh yeah, nice and crunchy.
There's no cartilage in there.
To this day, there's no cartilage?
No, it's gone.
You get no pain.
No pain. Now, I can't go barreling down. I don't have this structure to go barreling down the mountain, but I don't have any pain. Why? Because I've got blood flow, right? And oxygen. Now, I can't, there's things I can't do because it's structural and it doesn't hurt. If I walk on it too long, it'll start hurting. If you guys have been around me, you see, Dr. Mike's limping. Yeah, I mean, it can only handle so much, right?
I got the same knee problem.
Yeah. So in summary, you control all this. You've got all these systems you're not using. You have a Tylenol system. You have an ibuprofen system. Your ibuprofen system is called macrophages. They reduce inflammation. When you do a BFR session, the average person will increase their anti-inflammatory macrophages by 163%. Bye-bye inflammation everywhere. No more inflammation. Right? When you get this same response of lactate, it turns on your opioids and cannabinoids. It's like a release of Tylenol. Right? It's the same thing you get when you do gummies and marijuana, THC, opioids and cannabinoids. And if you read all the studies, that reduces pain. Gaylord, when you started using them, tell them you were like RoboCop with all the stuff, right? Tell him what you experienced. And he's got a great physique, but listen to the pain and arthritis part of what he was dealing with.
I'm well professional. I've been playing for 4 years. And at 67, I had knee braces on. I had arthritis was so bad in my left wrist, I had to work. Basically, I was doing everything I could, and I had to work. My hips were the size of baseball bats, just so I could hold on the cup. And, The bands came in, I put them on. I had a little stair stepper because I wanted to keep my legs in shape because, you know, the hips, the core, everything's important for golf. I barely break 80. I was playing horrible. And I put the bands on and I just started doing what I was doing, and the pain was horrific. And about the 4th or 5th day, I had no more pain in my knees. And that was when the light bulb went out. I weigh 215 pounds, I'm 180 now. I'm hitting the ball, I'm swinging at 110 miles an hour, I'm hitting the ball 180, 280.
Pain gone.
No more pain, no more arthritis, no more knee braces.
Right.
Meniscus tear went away.
Meniscus tear went away. It's not the arthritis that's hurting you. It's the inflammation because you can't get blood and oxygen in there. Okay? So yes, Gaylord can't dunk a basketball and he can't squat 400 pounds. But his knees don't hurt because he's got blood flow and nitric oxide. It's like mine. It doesn't hurt. But you ask me to squat 200 pounds, it'll explode. Right? It'll swell up like a basketball. Right? So this is another thing you see is pain disappears. Now, you guys are in the biohacking world, right? Here's what I do. I add all that stuff on top of it. And I 5X everything, right? I got the sauna from Phil, the relaxed sauna. I got the patches, right? John saw it. He took it off to put the H-wave on me. I got the pens and the lights, right? I sleep on an earthing mat. I hydronate my water. I got the little turbo water thing. I got all those. I got the, what's the hot thing, Gaylord, you got me using? The Rife, what is that? The Prife? I got the Itera ones. I got the Thumpers. I got it all, man. I geek out on all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. But my base is I'm going to elevate my growth hormone and nitric oxide. I'm always getting chiropractic treatment, right? So now I add all that on, it just 5X's all that stuff. You just respond so much faster. Yeah. So we'll stop there. I mean, you guys got this. Now it's just a question of whether you want to do it every day. Here's what I do. 2 or 3 days a week, I go do the gym thing, but I'm in and out. I come and get on the elliptical and, right? And I get done, I'm walking out and they're still, right? Still doing that, right? And I'm 4 minutes on that. I'm 6-7 minutes of strength training. And I do a plank. My longest workout's 12, 13 minutes and I'm out. If I'm not going to the gym,
3 days a week.
I do that probably 2 or 3 days a week. Every morning I get up. If you'd have followed me around, I got my pajamas on and my sandals and stuff. The bands are on. As soon as I wake up, put them on. And I'm not exercising. I'm just walking around. And I'll get in the kitchen. I'll turn the blender on. I'm right here. Oh, there's the burn. Count to 30. Okay, good. We're done. And I got about 3 or 4 minutes and they're off. And it's like somebody hit me with rocket fuel. There's my nitric oxide. Right? And then every day I'm doing some kind of strength training. I'll grab the tubing and knock out 3 to 4 minute arms. These arms right here, that's 3 minutes, 3 days a week. That's all that is. I have never lifted a weight on my legs in the last 10 years. By the way, I've done over 3,000 sessions of this. Right? So I know it pretty good. I've never once lifted a weight on my lower body. Right? And I use tubing or little 5 or 10 pound dumbbells. Right? So I implement it. I fit it in. It flows with my day. I don't stop and go do the gym thing for an hour and a half. You can, but I don't have time for that. Right? And that's what the majority of people do. Debbie, where do you do this?
So I do 2 things. I love Pilates. I have a really small Pilates bed, and I do maybe something different than most people do. I always put all 4 bands on. And I do a full body, arms and legs for a count of 30 so that I'm burning. And then I grab my weights and I'm doing my arms while I'm still doing my leg patterns. And the whole thing's done in 7 to 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Or I put them on and I swim 10 laps in the pool.
Yeah. And you just were with your daughter and did what?
So I'm 71 and I just rocked a bikini at the cabana for her 40th.
Yeah. Her body is no different than your body. It's no different. It's just what are you going to do to it? How are you going to treat it, right?
May I ask, where were you in your health fitness before you started using the bands?
So the reason I got the bands is, and Dr. Mike, I still have a hip joint issue, but I was limping in a lot of pain. And somebody invited me to an event back in the fall of 21. And I put the bands on and I could do them because I could do things that didn't limit that. And then like him, I've got a lot of other tools I use over that I've kept adding on. But I went to Machu Picchu last
Or she got rid of her hip pain, which was limiting her, and then she was able to go get vigorous exercise.
To their, the city of Machu Picchu, and it was not something I would have thought I could ever do 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you started using the bands, how long did it take you to feel that difference?
About a month.
And you were using them every day?
I only do it 3 days a week. Okay, just because that's what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. I wanted to hear from you, someone who's just have been using it, a regular person like me, and I have a lot of pain in my arm. I had surgery on a rod, and I have torn tendons, and it's hard to work out right now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I have pain throughout my body. And my mom had a hard time walking yesterday, so I had to put the H-wave on her last night on her ankles. They were so swollen. So my mom is 73. She's 250 pounds, 5'4". Very swollen ankles. Would this be good for her ankles? And
Okay, so if her ankle's swelling, what's going on? Her blood isn't getting down there and back because the blood vessels, right, have lost their ability to do this. The veins have smooth muscles in them. And when you get varicose veins and peripheral insufficiency, that smooth muscle just gets deteriorated. It's like a flabby arm. That smooth muscle's not doing this, and then the valve in the vein just kind of gets stuck in the blood pools.
she broke one ankle and sprained another one. They've been swollen ever since.
Yeah.
So people that have injuries like that, would you recommend?
Well,
This is my first time hearing about
yeah.
that.
So if you're injured, somebody,
Look at the gentleman to your left.
Yeah.
No, to your immediate left.
so if you're injured, how are you going to create fatigue and get nitric oxide and release peripheral circulation? You're not. How are you going to create lactic acid when your body can't handle load to go get the growth hormone to increase the metabolism, to lose the weight and build the muscle and strengthen the bones? You're not. Right? Some of us still can. At 52, I was hanging on by a thread. I was getting my knees drained once a month. I was eating a hole in my stomach with the ibuprofen, right? I was taking testosterone. I was intermittent fasting. I was ketoing. I was doing everything. And nothing against intermittent fasting, but you know what? I kind of want to eat breakfast once in a while. Right? Nothing against keto, but I'm going to eat some carbs in this life. Right? Isn't it interesting? Right? And I use that stuff. I'll intermittent fast once in a while. Right? But if you don't have to do that stuff, right? But if you don't exercise, here's the summary of the story. Everybody imagine you're not going to sleep for a week. Just take that in. That's like not exercising. You're just going to have a different set of problems than you're having without exercise. You have problems without exercising. Now don't sleep. You're going to have a new set of problems, right? You got to look at exercise like this is non-negotiable. Right? And you may want to go do the gym thing and woohoo, or do something else. Get on the vibration plate. You can come right in here with John and get on this for 5 or 6 minutes in the bands and you will rock an hour workout just like that. Right?
I do a lot of demos on vibration. Like
Yeah.
They all feel it.
Yeah.
So Dr. Monson, I was going to tell her, we had a lady that came to one of our events. She had a stroke
Mm-hmm.
and she couldn't stand up by herself, and she wasn't overweight, but he put the bands on her and just helped her stand and sit. And in the process of doing that, she had more feeling come into her leg.
Yeah, that was over at your place, yeah.
That was pretty amazing. She's like, oh my gosh, because she didn't have any feeling in that leg.
Yeah.
And in the
She had no
process,
circulation, yeah.
She goes, oh my gosh, I can feel my leg.
We have a lot of patients with neuropathy and Bell's got type of condition, and it's so sad seeing how much pain they're in.
Yeah.
Right.
and then some are numb, they
Right.
can't feel. So,
You know what neuropathy is, everyone? It's lack of oxygen on the nerve. Go read about hypoxia in a nerve and you'll understand neuropathy. Diabetes, you lose circulation, you use oxygen to the nerve. You get compression of the spinal cord or impingement, it shuts the blood flow down to the nerve. You don't exercise, you lose blood flow. And then you end up with a nerve that's just not happy. Every nerve has a circulating blood supply around it. As soon as you do BFR, you get increased blood flow. It's all proven in studies. I take people with sciatica. We had a guy in the booth that's got, he has chronic sciatica. He was having it, okay? And he's like, I can't do 10, 20 minutes. Now, here's one of the things you'll learn when you get the bands. You'll come on an onboarding call with me, and I'll give you a roadmap, right? So these kind of people we're talking about, we put them in the bands for 1 minute. One, no more, right? We have him do something like all he did was go sit up against the wall, his legs on fire. And I said, tell me when you feel the burn. There it is. I said, count to 30. I said, get up, take them off. He said, I'm done. I said, you're done. He walks around, comes back and said, how'd you do that? I didn't do anything.
It's got blood to it.
You just turned on blood flow by creating hypoxia. Now, if he'd have wore the bands for 10 minutes and he'd kept the compression on the nerve, what do you think that had done to the nerve? Wouldn't be very happy. So you don't put it on for 10 minutes. All right, so these are some of the things you'll learn, you know, if you get with B3 is how long you use it, right? How long you keep it on, what type of exercises you do. Yeah.
If somebody had a lot of scar tissue and adhesions in those areas, is there much risk? I'm not really sure how to ask the question. Is there much risk if there's a lot of scar tissue in those areas?
Well, what do you mean risk?
Of pinching anything dangerous or blocking any flow?
Well, I mean, these guys have, you know, I think the best thing to do is look at statistics. There's safety studies on this. We're over 60,000 people, and these guys have been around. I haven't even seen a pulled muscle. Think about that. I haven't seen a pulled muscle. You're not loading. You're not doing this explosive. You're not stressing the muscle. Last thing I'll teach you. Where's delayed onset muscle soreness come from? The soreness the next day? And it's okay to say what you think you've heard. Where's that come from? Lactic acid. No. Nope. Everybody rub your hands together. This is light exercise. This is the muscle fibers called sarcomeres rubbing across when you contract, right? And you relax. Now let's put weight on it. Rub real hard. Real hard. Keep doing that. What are you going to get? And then what? A blister. And you're going to go, oh God, look at that. And then you're going to wake up the next day and go, oh. Post-exercise inflammation from grinding your muscle fibers creates an inflammatory response, and then you get delayed onset muscle soreness. It is not lactic acid. Lactic acid is your best friend. Okay? Somebody does a try. They are stressing and stretching their muscles and they get inflammation. Now, if you micro tear a muscle, right? When are you going to feel it? You micro tear a muscle, you're not going to go, oh boy, that's going to hurt tomorrow. You go, oh, geez, we just tore something. You don't micro tear muscle. There's no such thing as micro tearing muscle. You stretch it and you inflame it. If you tear it, you're going to be like, oh, we're done. Right? So lactic acid is one of your best friends. It turns on the body system. So that's why when you do BFR, after 1 or 2 times, you can crush a workout like you've been doing BFR, right? You crushing it, you getting a lot of burn? How many days you woke up sore? None. Now, if you went in the gym and squatted and heavy bench pressed and deadlift, max lifted, what would you feel the next day? Be sore. So he can do it the old way and go get the lactic acid with the heavy weights, or he can do it what we call the metabolic way. He can use oxygen to trick the fast twitch to get involved. He's going to get to the same place. He's going to get to muscle and speed and explosion, but he's not going to have all the downside of the heavy weights, which, by the way, in athletes, shorten muscles, creates weak spots in the muscles. And then what happens? You rupture an Achilles, you rupture a quad, you rupture a pec, you rupture a bicep, because you're using loading to fatigue the muscle. And for somebody like him who's a catcher and has got to protect his arm, last thing the strength training coaches should be doing is max bench pressing and shoulder pressing him, but that's probably what they got him doing. Because, you know. Anybody else have any questions? We're going to do some fun demos. Yeah.
So this will help me get rid of my knee. You know how you walk upstairs and like you can't sneak around anywhere because
Right.
people are going to hear you. So I have,
Talking about the morning Rice Krispies?
yeah, I have pain in my heels and the top of my foot, my knees, and
Yeah.
you know, all over. And I'm not sure where it comes from. It started years ago when I was pregnant with my daughter there, and she's 11. And I've not had a day without pain
Yeah.
since. Not one day do I remember not having pain. I have pain all over, and it's.
Who invited you, by the way?
Junko.
Okay.
Junko.
Yeah.
And I get chronic migraines, so
Mhm.
you know I'm always looking for something to really help. I mean, I try little things here and there, but you know Junko knows my situation. She said you have to come here. She's been talking about Osteostrong,
Yeah.
you know, for a few days now. And I said okay, and so I'm really impressed with what she has told
Yeah.
me. But yeah, I mean I'm 48, and when I walk, have those feelings. I have
Yeah.
arthritis. I have arthritis all through this arm and
Mhm.
torn tendons, and you know I'm really wanting something to help. And
Yeah.
I don't like to work out. I do not work out ever,
Yeah.
ever. But I need to. I know I need to go because I'm 48.
Yeah.
I need to build, you know,
Yeah.
my bones, get them stronger. I've broken so many of them.
Well, don't worry about the popping and cracking. The pain's going to go away.
And I have spinal stenosis. I got all kinds of things.
In 30 days, 90% of that's gone.
I
And,
really.
and everybody in here that's doing the BFR has been through it. They'll all tell you, yeah, pain's gone. I mean, you're gonna have some stuff. Here's what I would say, right? Knowing what I know. See, I have all these tools like John has and Susan has, so that when the BFR doesn't completely fix my shoulder or it's not gonna fix my back. I got the H-wave. I got all the other stuff that I can bring in there and finish the job that I can't get done with the growth hormone. Like I wear the patches on my shoulder occasionally. Patches, it knocks down the pain a little bit, right? Or I'll get in the infrared sauna, right? And it helps my pain. But in 90 days, I'd say, in 30 days, 90% of what you're talking, you'll come in here going, oh my God. I mean, I've heard it 60,000 times. Why? Because your human body's no different than anybody else's, right? At your age, you've got low growth hormone, right?
No hormone.
Huh? Well,
But
yeah. So if we turn that on, how'd you feel 20 years ago?
I felt good 20 years ago.
Well, that's what you're going to feel like.
Yeah, my body. I lost my son about 8 years ago, and that's where everything went down. And I
Yeah.
quit caring about myself. I take care of others. I'm a caregiver. Love taking care of others, but I have not taken care of myself for many years.
Yeah.
And I want to be alive. I have 3 other beautiful children. I want to be alive. I want to feel good. I want to go.
Well, there's a reason you're here.
Yeah. So I'm thankful to be here and listen to all this.
But you know what? The proof's in the pudding. This means nothing. Try the bands. Anybody don't have bands? Here's what you do. You try them for 30 days. If you don't love them, I want them back. I don't care how they come back. Dirty, sweaty, stained. Send them back. Give your money back. You're out shipping. Okay? But I can tell you what are people spending on growth hormone? Thousands. And I get people who argue with me over $4.79. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. What'd that prescription cost you? Yeah?
Then your nose grows and your ears grow.
Well,
Things that you don't want to grow.
yeah. So, yeah. Any last questions before we have some fun? Put the bands on for people who haven't tried it.
Question, how does this relate to like time under tension or building like more muscle mass or strength?
Okay, so when oxygen's flowing at a 10, you got to figure out how to exercise to get to an 11. Time under tension, super slow, Pilates. They're just going to keep recreating crap and to help you figure out how to get here. And you're going to have to increase your exercise to get to fatigue. Or let's cut the oxygen in half and let's just exercise at a 6. Time under tension, great, it's more tension. Or stacking or loading, right? Right? Or doing a finisher. If you're not using the bands, you got to figure out how to get up here. Cross training, banging the ropes, jumping up and down on the blocks, right? Go to this station, just keep moving, right? I'd rather just say, let's just cut the oxygen in half and let's just do it the easy way. Now, all that other stuff, yeah, Time under tension is going to work great. Hitting a golf ball, getting on, you can do any exercise you want to do. You just got to get the burn. That's what's great about it. Yeah.
So the blood flow restriction is specifically in the extremities, but you want to enjoy hypertrophy, increased strength in the torso. Would you just follow?
You would just do push-ups and shoulder with the bands on, and you'll get it, right? Okay, so everybody, I'm going to go this month. I'm going to do 100 sit-ups a day. Okay. Now next month, I'm going to keep doing 100 sit-ups a day, but I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to. What's going to happen the second month when I'm juicing and taking anabolic steroids? I'm juicing. I'm doping. The same exercise is going to be magnified by 10. Well, you don't have to go in the bathroom and do it anymore. You just it's right here. So what's going to happen when you apply it to the same exercise? You're going to magnify it by 5. Gaylord was already doing stuff. He didn't all of a sudden start doing stuff he wasn't doing. He just put the bands on and boom. Up goes growth hormone, pain goes away, here comes the strength, loses the weight, back to hitting, swinging 110 miles per hour.
I've been in the gym since high school.
Yeah.
I hurt myself when I went to the gym.
Yeah. 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 Who else had a question? Yeah.
Could you touch on whatever you're familiar with PTSD and effects of this?
Well, when you're PTSD, are you in stress or are you in anabolic? Stress. When you're in stress, man, that's a problem. It doesn't matter if it's emotional, PTSD, viral, chemical, diabetes. You're in stress, right? I've had all these people that are in long haul, right? They're in long haul. You can call it COVID. You can call it whatever you want. Your body's depressed. You got a teeter-totter. You turn on the anabolic system. Look, stress down, right? So I can tell you the mood changes and the chemical changes and the dopamine, that's all going to change.
You say 30 days?
Well, I mean, Anthony, he was dealt a pretty tough hand. And I'm sure he'll tell you the life probably didn't look real good. You know, back before BFR, now his brain functions completely different. So not only did he change his physique, he changed his chemistry. And he's not in this stress state, right? His stress is dealing with the fact that he had a major accident, right? Your stress might be something different, right? Right? But it's stress. So you have the ability to flip that, right? So it certainly can help reduce any type of stress you're dealing with. I know I'm a lot happier when I do my BFR every day. I got my patience is a little bit better. Yeah. Anybody else question? Well, before we do some demos, Anthony?
Add something real quick.
Yeah.
Because also, before I started BFR, it was a car accident, but I have broken my shoulder.
Speak up, Anthony.
Oh, as you can see, I have broken my shoulder in the car accident that was in 2013. It's still broken. You can actually see the bone popping up right there. Right? The range of motion was really weird. I could only go up to here, like that. I looked like a referee going the field goals here, right? So, just doing the BFRs every day and at least 30 minutes or less. And now it's like way better. It got the range of motion is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's all just, that's why I know that those things work.
Yeah.
It's not a lie. I'm like the live guinea pig. I've been using them that have been healing a lot. So I know that they're actually work.
Yeah. Does somebody else have a question?
I have a weird question for you, Dr. Michael. You got me thinking, when I was younger, if I tried to do weightlifting, I would work out with a fitness trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd do like 2 workouts. And the third workout, I would have started to turn to concrete and all we could do is stretch.
Yeah.
My body did not like weightlifting
No.
at all, right?
No.
But now on BFR, I can use light weights and I can do.
And you don't have to stretch, do you?
And I don't have to stretch.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's like something my body just did not like.
Yeah.
I think I'm easily inflamed, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how we got here with the no pain, no gain, but I mean, we weren't doing it the best way. This is more efficient, right? And look, if we didn't have BFR, we'd still be chasing it the old way, but now we have BFR, right? It's like traveling cross country, right? If you were like me in the 70s, you used to have to go from East Coast to West Coast and stop halfway. How many people would get on Orbitz or Priceline or Travelocity and look up a plane flight and go, okay, there's a direct one. Oh, there's a stop in St. Louis. Let me have the stop in St. Louis one. Who would do that? Okay, well, if you're doing no exercise the old way, you're stopping in St. Louis. I mean, that's pretty much what you're doing, right? Because there's a new way. Yeah, there's a new way. So if you haven't done it, let's get some bands out and have some fun. Now for the people here, let me give you 30 seconds what I've learned, okay? Don't worry about reps. When you feel the burn, count to 20. Get a minimum of 20 seconds, okay? That's protocol number 1. Very short rest. Don't rest more than 20 seconds and go get another 20 seconds. 1 set, 2 set, 3 set. 3 times 20 is how long? 1 minute. You got to at least get 2 minutes. You're looking for 3 to 5 if you're getting really good at this. Okay? So then go do another one. That's one protocol. Here's the other protocol, right? Start doing a continuous movement. Get in the burn and go for a minute. Oh, there's the burn. Count to a minute. Take a short break and then go do another minute. Or get in the burn and just stay there for 3 minutes. Okay, so like when I do weight training, I'm going to do biceps, triceps. I'm just going to bis, tries. I'm staying in the burn the whole time. So while I'm doing my triceps, my biceps are resting. If I'm doing a leg circuit, it's squats, lunges, leg kicks, calf raises, deadlift, and I just keep going. I'm producing continuous burn. But don't worry about reps anymore, everyone. Get 20 seconds minimum of burn. Add up all your burn, whether it's 20 seconds at a time or a minute, or continuous, and try to get to 3 minutes. And if you want to push human potential, go get 5 to 6 minutes. That's how this works. Yep, that's what we've now figured out.
If somebody, like I used to have a regimen that didn't have this, I would sprint, like 30 seconds on, 20 seconds
Yeah,
on.
you were doing the same thing without the bands.
So,
Yeah.
If you have these bands on, what would be, if somebody wants to still do that?
Yeah.
What would be a
Same.
contrary- okay, just
Same.
caution-
Sprint, get the burn, take a break. Sprint, get the burn, take a break.
Okay, so it's okay to have a similar regimen.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be the same regiment. You're just going to do it way quicker, right?
So while you're doing those reps or whatever, you keep the bands inflated the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
You don't let the pressure down.
Right.
And if you're doing a leg exercise, do you have arms and legs on?
You can, like you, I would do all 4.
All 4.
And I would just go run hills.
Okay.
Up, down, up, down, up, down. Take a break. Up, down, take a break. Up, down, up, down. Then I'd go hit some stairs. Then I'd do some wall sits. Because what you're going to do is you're going to dump more lactic acid faster in your mitochondria. Your mitochondria are going to multiply. Then you're going to go out and run long. And every time you go and take in a volume of oxygen, there's more mitochondria pumping ATP. And although you only train for 5 or 6 minutes, you're gonna be able to go for 5 or 6 hours. That's how mitochondria work, right? So keep doing your long stuff, but take some breaks from that. Go do these short tons of burn, real intense. And then here's the mistake people make. Okay, I'm going to take the bands off, and now I'm going to go work out. Oh, no, don't do that. All you're doing is interfering with growth hormone. The growth hormone's ready to come out after exercise, and then you take them off and you want to go do something else. You're done. That's it. You're done. You did 5, 6 minutes, you're done. Gaylord will tell you. You just 5, 6 minutes and the bands are off, and you're on about your day. Yep.
Is there an age limit? I mean,
No.
So you can use it at any age?
We have 5, 6-year-olds using it.
Really?
No. If they're doing exercise and push-ups, yes. If you got a 4 or 5-year-old and they don't want to exercise, then don't put the bands on. But I'll tell you this, you take any athlete like our kid back there is a senior or a 6 or 7-year-old, and you put the bands on them, it won't be fair. Just telling you right now, it will not be fair. Ask Gaylord about his grandkids. Won't be fair. They will be a different athlete than the other kids. It will not be fair until the other kids start doing it. All right? Yeah. Okay, let's put some bands on. Who hasn't done BFR before?